Now that is a Cardano daily chart. That's an ADA breakout happening right now. It's the macro move, the multi-year move that is actually taking place right here that I'm really excited to break down in this video. I also want to talk about short-term targets, what to anticipate right now on this daily chart, what could happen, the volatility, all of that. So please hit the subscribe, hit the like. Let's just jump into the video. We're going to start on the weekly and then we'll really zoom in, but it really is the move that's happening within this weekly candle that I want to discuss. And please bear with me here. I'm going to show a clip. This clip is from December 19th, 2023, months ago. But this clip, it's not too long. It's not too long. It will set all of the context and it might surprise you as much as it surprises me. So let's check it out real quick. And this is something that I'm kind of anticipating. That's not to say it's going to happen now, but are we going to get a similar move, like some type of retracement to the downside? And are we going to have to wait for this break of structure indicator to trigger? For me, this right here is, remember, break of structure indicator to trigger is the bull market doors for ADA. And just notice something. This is where things become ridiculous. This basically looks to have triggered right around November 2020. Right around there. Maybe just after it. And that's so meaningful to me because that is when the bull market doors for Bitcoin broke the Fibonacci. So notice, this is crazy, everybody. Notice in this clip where Bitcoin is while I'm recording this. $42,000 or so. You see the Bitcoin bull market doors right there in green? Okay, let's go look at the weekly chart on Bitcoin. A little bit of a different looking chart, but that rectangle that you see there is the same Bitcoin bull market doors. If you're unaware, it is a bull market high to bear market low. It's this lower high Fibonacci retracement basically that Bitcoin breaks through, that kicks off the parabolic bull run. It has happened before the halving. Here's where it happened last November, that November 2020 that I discussed in that clip, post-halving of 2020. Here's where it happened post-halving in 2016. There's the break in 2017. Here's the bull market doors being broken in 2013, post-2012 halving. That line that you see there is the halving. So Bitcoin broke the doors. And this was back, I did this video back in December. And the thing is, the exact move just happened again, meaning Bitcoin broke the bull market doors. And right after, ADA is putting in the break of structure move that I discussed in that video. So coming down a little bit, retracement, and right back up. Now, I want to just talk about this a little bit because this is insane to me. I should note, very importantly, there's still 1 day, 22 hours left. ADA could very well close below. And this break of structure indicator that you see there, it could disappear. So right now, if we're looking at that, I mean like 10% move to the downside or so, and that could disappear. And that could happen in the next 1 day, 22 hours. So I'm very closely watching how this weekly candle closes and where it closes. But here's the move in the last bull cycle. Again, when Bitcoin was breaking the bull market doors, just after ADA put in that break of structure. So I have a little note here, Bitcoin bull doors. And there's that break of structure. Now, break of structure is basically price breaking a prior swing high during an uptrend, and you can see it there happening. But what's notable about it is the fact that it happened after the change of character. And this is really, truly a market structure shift happening. This is a market reversal, the change of character that triggers. These are Lux Algo indicators, by the way, everybody. I'll put a link in the description if you want to try them out. But change of character, break of structure, and that is what I was just kind of using as a potential for bull market doors. And the reason why is just because we can't wait for a lower high Fibonacci for ADA like we do on Bitcoin. If we did that, if you look at this, the bull market doors for ADA last cycle would have been like all the way up here around $1, right? And that waits too long. There's too many gains in play. So these indicators did a really good job if you look back. And now here we are, the same indicators going off. Change of character, right? This market shift happening, this reversal happening, and then the break of structure happening. So that's that. Before we leave the weekly chart, and again, I'm going to be watching very closely this, how this plays out, and how the weekly candle closes. But before we leave the weekly, if ADA and crypto markets in general just keep making a power move right now, I don't know if it's going to play out exactly the same. Last time when ADA broke the break or put in the break of structure, you can just see green weekly candle, crazy gains. I'm not sitting here saying, hey, expect that that's going to happen again. I'm way more careful of a person than that. I see the data, I see the history, I realize it very well could happen, but I also know that the dynamics of these cycles, though they really do reflect each other so similarly, the dynamics can change a little bit, right? And other things could be in play. But if it were to happen, and if we get some just really bullish weeks ahead, very similar to when ADA did this last cycle, the area target I'd be watching for is this order block. This is another Lux Algo indicator. This order block here, it's around like $1. Let's just call it $1.15. But a lot of just history of market participants in that general area. Other than that, there's really not a lot of structure happening, right? There's for me, we have shorter term targets we're about to look at on the daily chart that are below that area. But this parabolic move, if ADA continues on the weekly above $1, I wouldn't even really be looking at $1 too much as this area of huge resistance. It could be is a very big mental barrier, but I'd be looking at a little bit of above $1 if ADA's making a move through $1. What's happening at that general area where that order block is on this Lux Algo indicator? I think that could be an area of interest on the weekly. So if we go over here now and we start dissecting the daily chart and we start looking at two things. I want to talk about targets, and then I want to talk about the current momentum of ADA and what I'm anticipating, maybe even in terms of volatility, maybe even in terms of dips. So this is ADA on the daily. First things first, I want to zoom out real quick because there's been this target for ADA out of this descending triangle. We broke out of, this was back in like November 2023. It's a very large triangle with an 85-cent target. And you can see if I start zooming in, well, ADA is almost there. And that target is still in play. It would be great to close that target out if ADA can make its way to that area. And it's just crazy to actually see this because we had very similar structure at the bottom of the last cycle. Look at that descending triangle there, descending triangle this time. The reflection of last cycle, how ADA bottomed out, and even this break of structure compared to how ADA bottomed out this time and the break of structure that just occurred on the weekly. It's just incredible. It's just insane to me. I track the data. We watch it, we anticipate these things, but when it happens, it's just something else to see. So 85-cent target is there in play, and we have another similar target. It's a shorter term target though. We've I believe talked about on this channel inverse head and shoulders that you see here on ADA, just really in the last couple days, 2 or 3 days, breaking the neckline with around an 85-cent target to the upside as well. So short term, I wouldn't be surprised if ADA makes its way to 85 cents sooner than later. With that being said, and those are some targets for you, with that being said, I do want to talk about some downside. And because it's always in play, even in bullish environments. And let's do two things. Number one, with the pattern itself, the inverse head and shoulders, that neckline, of course, when we break patterns, revisiting usually the upper trend line, in this case, the neckline, revisiting and getting throwbacks is just so common, right? And we talk about that very often on this YouTube channel. So support at the 63, 64 cent area would be something I'd be watching for to see if there is support. If ADA starts falling, cryptos start falling, it would be so unfortunate if this happens, especially before this week's close, because if ADA did start retracing in the next day or, before the close on Sunday of the weekly candle, then guess what? Those bull market doors for ADA will disappear, and I just want to point that out. And also ADA will be back below the 200-week moving average. I want to point that out. So ADA has a lot of pressure on it to perform here. So going back to the daily, that's in terms of the ADA price. I want to talk about ADA momentum a little bit and just point something out to you because this is what helps guide me in terms of just, okay, even if there's consolidation, maybe it's not even just a crazy fall, but maybe it's just sideways and ADA's just chilling for a second. What is normal? What's not? So look where ADA is on the RSI. Slower moving momentum oscillator. In bull environments, it's very normal for any cryptos just to hang out in that overbought territory. Just because we're overbought doesn't mean, man, we're coming back down, price is coming back down. Often that does happen, but in bull environments, often is the case that's not how it works. And I want to show you a couple examples. Number one, we can go not too far back. when ADA was making a very nice breakout all the way back here. Kind of similar vibes is what's happening right now. ADA is just making a really nice breakout. If you remember, this was just back in October. And notice ADA kind of hitting this area on overbought. Very similar area where we are right now. And that was right around here. Was that the end of the really nice ADA move from, 24 cents to around 29 cents? No, that wasn't, right? It wasn't the end of the move. We're in that overbought area. And what does ADA do? Red candle, you see that, and let me zoom in so we can track this a little bit better. Little red candle, kind of sideways, right? Comes down on the RSI a little bit, touches the top right there, right by overbought, and then just continues to the upside. And then it consolidates a little bit, and notice what it's doing here, and this is important. Little consolidation, a little bit of consolidation. You see these red candles in there, and then just kind of sideways, pulling into the 20-day moving average. That 20-day moving average is such a big area of interest for me where we are right now. So how ADA interacts with the 20-day moving average right now will be important. And let me that was one example, right? Just in terms of a more recent example right here. But I want to go all the way back to, let's go back to the actual, when Bitcoin broke the bull market doors. And then remember, on the weekly chart, ADA put in this break of structure and just that breakout move. And if we're looking at really exact candles, it's this candle here that is currently happening right here. So let's go to the daily and let's look. Well, what was ADA doing, right? And so this is where the move happened. I believe it's right around here. Well, look at this. ADA was also, just like it is now, hitting overbought. What I want to point out is this. Let's see. We're looking at power move like right around here. What I want to point out, and look at the volatility. I don't know if ADA is going to be this volatile as it was last cycle, but what I want to point out is very similar to the most recent example we just gave on the daily momentum. And then ADA hit drawing into the 20-day. Even back then, ADA going crazy. Look at this, drawing into the 20-day. So way more volatile, swing high to the 20-day. We're talking about a 40% dip and then continuation to the upside and then support at the 20-day. Maybe we won't get that much volatility. Maybe it would be more similar to, if I go back to the chart, maybe it would be more similar to something like this, just drawing into, right? Not some crazy, we're going parabolic and then we're just 40% down. I don't know how it's going to play out. But one thing I want to point out is, number one, it's normal. So two things I want to point out. Number one, it's normal to be an overbought. It's good. It's what cryptos do in these bullish environments. But the second thing is, when it does retrace or consolidate, because it's going to happen, whenever it does, how does it interact with the 20-day moving average? And 20-day moving average is currently at 61.5 cents. And that will be an area of interest for me. Not 61.5 cents per se, but as ADA does its thing, whether it starts trickling down a little bit on the daily, whether it keeps going on the daily, as this 20-day draws higher into ADA, when ADA eventually tests it, because it will, what does ADA do? That's what I will be watching. We have our targets. Volatility-wise, we know what to anticipate, I think, in the short term. And then zoomed out, the one thing is true. ADA, right now, is trying to break those bull market doors, and it has. The question is, how will this weekly candle close? This is the update for tonight, everybody. Crazy start to March for ADA. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I appreciate you cruising through. Please hit the subscribe, hit the like. You might see some comments. All you cover is Cardano. And I don't cover that much Cardano. Not nearly as much as I used to, everybody. So hit the subscribe for Bitcoin content. Hit the subscribe for crypto news, crypto content, even some Solana, some AVAX, altcoins. And make sure you turn notifications on. I hope you have a good start to your weekend. I'll see you in the next video. God bless.